Good evening, Somers, and welcome to the Somers Town Board Work Session, Thursday, December 5th. If you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. Yeah, first order of business tonight is to conduct a public hearing on our preliminary budget. So I'll make a motion to open a roll call, please.
Councilman William G. Faulkner.
Here.
Councilman Richard G. Quincy.
Here.
Councilman Anthony J. Sirico.
Here.
Councilman Thomas A. Garrity Jr.
I'm here. Great.
Supervisor Rick Morris.
Present.
Great.
Then like to make a motion to open public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, at this time, I'd like to call up our budget director.
Finance director.
Finance director.
He's the whole enchilada.
Finance director got us
Director of
double
all
A
things.
rated. Double A rated.
Good evening.
Hey, Bob.
All right, so the budget's gone through from our tentative budget. We made a change to our preliminary, and we're now looking at a tax levy increase of 1.44.
Right, so there's no change from the tentative or the preliminary to now.
Okay,
So what we're proposing tonight, I believe, is the addition of a highway truck, which are,
okay. Well, we did add. I mean, my original budget was a zero
Right.
tax levy increase, but then it was brought to our attention about when we were paving about deteriorating storm drains, and we did bring on new hires, which
right, we added a road maintainer. That was the biggest change that we made to that budget. And there's a couple of small other changes we made were one to the deputy superintendent's salary went up a little bit, but there were some cost savings. We reduced the overtime in the highway budget. So then the biggest increase for that change was the highway road maintainer.
Right.
So essentially where you're at here, I'm seeing like 144, that essentially has these adjustments in it. So you come from 0 to 144,
Right,
okay?
right.
And the cap is what? The max?
We're leaving, we're under the tax cap by $233,000.
So the tax cap is what percent though?
Well, it's 2.8 this year.
2.8.
We also had carryover, which
Yes.
could have made it higher than that.
Yes.
So there, yeah, we're leaving some on the table. If we don't spend another 110,000 or so, you're limited to how much you can carry over of your tax cap. And what we'd be leaving on the table with this budget is about $110,000.
So it's just so the public understands, I mean, the headline is always tax cap, it's capped at 2%. But there are legislative pluses and minuses that you can add and subtract that allow you to go over that. And then there's a complicated carryover process as well.
Right.
So you're saying that we can go as high as 2.8, and this is at 1.4, okay. So the proposals are coming under the cap
Right.
so far.
Right.
And the tax increase is not the same as the tax levy, and the cap is the tax levy, not the tax increase, the budget increase, the tax, wherever you get your tax bill, just to make it clear.
Right, it's both the tax levy increase and the tax rate increase approximate 1.44 is the way the budget stands now.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
okay.
Excuse me, before we take comments from the public, I didn't do publish and posting.
okay.
Thank you.
Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, publish and
Yes,
postings.
please do.
Yeah, can you, Pat, again, you have publishing and posting?
The notice was published in Somers Record and posted on the town clerk's bulletin board on November 21st.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, so there were some changes in the preliminary budget this evening?
We had a discussion today about adding a highway truck to the budget, but to have no effect on the tax levy or the tax rate, since we pay for it from fund balance, half of which would come from the highway fund and half of it from the general fund. So that the increase would be $210,000
Yeah.
for one truck.
How they talked about it.
Okay, so that will have really no impact on the
No, we
preliminary
were going to use
2020.
fund balance to cover it, so there'd be no
Basically,
tax
what he was
impact.
gonna do is he was gonna start from 0 and then come up to this.
That's the general fund fund balance or the highway fund balance?
Be half from general, half from highway. It's 105,000 from each. I mean, the formula, it's not, it was just something we came up with. I mean, obviously that could be modified as the board sees fit, but right now that was how
Have we had that truck in a previous discussion?
Well, they're always advocating for.
I'm not against it, but I'm just wondering, I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
No, this basically came up after the last storm, and there was, I guess, some breakdowns of some of the equipment, and based on that, we're advocating for one new
So
truck.
did we get an email or anything on it?
No, this literally came to my attention today, so.
How much is it?
$210,000.
Wow.
I think Nick is here. For, you want to hear from
You still here?
Sure.
Nick and Tommy? Are here if you want to hear from.
I think so.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, why do we need a new highway truck for $210,000?
Gentlemen?
Well, we got a new highway
And I'm not against it. I
superintendent,
just
so
didn't,
what the heck, get a new
I didn't
truck.
say anything on
I
it.
just didn't know about it till I sat down.
Yeah, you get,
We've had a couple of trucks. Our fleet is, my predecessor's done a great job of, some of these military surplus trucks that, as you gentlemen well know, been able to turn around and really service the town for the past 15 to 20 years. Unfortunately, it's 15 to 20 years later, and some of these trucks are starting to wear down. And, as we went into the storm earlier this week, we had a couple trucks right away break down, and coming in as the future highway superintendent, I'd like to try to start to build a fleet of trucks. Again, as I said, my predecessor's done a great job in utilizing these military surplus trucks. The difficulty with them is, A, we can't get them anymore. B, finding parts to upkeep them is becoming increasingly difficult. And C, again, they're all 20-plus years old. So we are looking towards the future. We'd like to start to slowly but surely work our way into some newer vehicles in order to keep the town safe.
Yeah, well, I know over these years, these Army surplus trucks have been the backbone of the highway department and frankly, the backbone of our budget,
Still
our
are.
highway budget.
Still are.
Okay, so.
Two questions then, actually. One is, why can't we get any, did the surplus military vehicles disappear?
The auction sites that we purchased them from have dried up. So 10 years ago where you could go out and you could find 4 or 5 of these to bid on, that no longer exists. They're not there anymore.
Okay.
during the storm, the trucks, this is precipitated by the storm we just had.
Correct.
And you did have trucks that broke down, and now we can't really use them.
It's not so much that we can't really use them, it's how much money do we want to put into them given their current value.
But I mean, what
Anything's
happened to
fixable.
them? What happened to them was unexpected. So it happened. It happened in
any
the storm, whatever it was.
Correct. But in any storm, we deal with breakdowns, and any municipality would tell you the same thing. Any highway department would tell you, you're always going to have problems as far as stuff breaking down, stuff getting beat up over time. The problem is some of the stuff that we're beating up now that is it worth fixing versus going into something a little more modern or a little newer.
Yeah, we run into the same with the police cars sometimes, or as the Jeep says, it's got so many miles or something, we need to replace it with a new one
Correct.
versus throwing money at it. My second question is more for Bob. So if it's $210,000 and half of it's coming out of the highway fund balance and half of it's coming out of the town fund balance, what's our total spend from the town fund balance, including 105?
It's 384,000 from general fund and 105 from highway.
Okay.
It's on your sheet in front of you that I left with you.
Yeah, either Tony stole mine or
Oh.
something happened, I don't have one.
He does that.
I'll share it with you.
Okay, I have
That's all
a,
right, you answered my question.
Halfway here.
You answered my question.
so Nick, I just have a question moving forward. Nick, if I get your attention, thank you. So this request, short timeframe, I know you want to get it included in the budget. This is a budget hearing and it's appropriate. However, are you working on a plan so we're not doing this next year at this
Yeah.
time? It'll already be discussed, included, reviewed, approved?
Yes, sir.
Capital plan?
Actually looking for a 10-year plan right now is what I'm putting together, which I will have to you gentlemen soon. Just to let you know, if I order that truck January 1st, I'm not going to have it for next winter. These things do not turn around in 6 months. They don't turn around in a year. Right now, we're looking at 14 months from the day I order it. So to ask now for something, I'm really asking for 2021. I'm not really asking for 2020.
So when does the money go out?
It would go out upon receiving the truck.
So
and
it's a year from now.
realistically, yes. They'll tell you we'll have it in 10 months. Realistically,
I don't think
given
we
what
wanna
other municipalities.
Without having the money designated.
Yeah, I want to designate it, but you want to have the
So it's
money.
not going to help our problems right now, or whatever just
This
occurred.
winter.
No.
So we didn't want to put it into the budget originally, or?
It's not that we didn't want to put it into the budget originally. We had been asking for another man. I think I had asked for more than one other man. There were things that we are trying to prioritize as far as what we're spending and what we need to spend in the future. Not that the trucks were not in mind, but we had a couple things happen this storm that have kind of pushed that agenda a little closer to the front than it was previously. Again, this is something that's going to be a 10 to 15-year plan. This isn't something we're going to be able to fix overnight. Just given what's happened in this past week, it seemed smart to try to get it in as soon
Well,
as
I think that when people talk about, my experience with town tax, people say, look, just let me know about what it is, so I don't want the spikes, the unexpected. And so if we plan things out and gradually increase them, I think that's always good fiscal management and keeps you up to date. And I think people appreciate it. We kind of know what it's going to be every year, and some things have to be delayed, some things you can get now, and I think that's probably the way to run a school district or the town. I think we try to follow that. So I don't disagree with you. I'm just kind of wondering, the storm just happened, we have this, but we're not going to have it to help what happened in the storm. It probably would have been better earlier, but if we can plan a 10-year, I think we'll follow along with you. If we have a 10-year plan, we'll probably follow
we
it.
do, and also, again, going back to my predecessor, Tom, I mean, we have a fleet that services the town, and it's done a great job, and it will continue to do a great job throughout this year. We're going to have to hustle. We're going to have to work a little harder to make things work, and we will. It seems like a good idea to try to get in front of this as opposed to wait.
From a
put it on the back burner.
standpoint of the budget, I mean, we had our auditors in here a week or so ago, or a few weeks ago, and obviously they indicated that we were in great financial shape and that our fund balance was good, as was the highway department's. So, taking some money out of fund balance is,
We can afford it.
that's what it's there for. So again, I don't have a problem with that, but I didn't know about it, so that's
No,
why I
you're
was
right.
asking the questions.
I just say just a little bit differently. I'm okay with starting this process, placing the order, and setting aside the money. This is going to happen over the next year. But I think back to the plan. I mean, I think there's two steps to this plan. I think one, if you're going to sort of change the character of the fleet, you should come before us with a plan, saying how many trucks you're going to do this and how this thing sort of works and what's the investment going to be. And I'm sure you're the new superintendent there. I think you, in a larger sense, probably have a lot of new ideas. So you need maybe an overall plan for the entire system that you have there, and to think about what your objectives are going to be over the next 10 years in its entirety, and that may be staff equipment and some other things as well. So I want to support you. Okay, I don't think it has any financially detrimental outlook to where we are, but I'm with the guys that I'd just like to see a plan and
Yeah,
have
we're
a little
confident.
bit.
Tommy always had a great plan, and he's done it for 100 years, and we're sure you'll have the same plan. So yeah, we're not. That's not even a concern.
But in discussions with you, shown, you have a lot of plans about a lot of things that are exciting, and like Anthony says, that's a good thing. So we support you 100%.
Thank you, sir.
So, this town is known for its care of its roads, especially in the winter,
Definitely.
getting potholes filled and what have you. And you've got some big shoes to fill. Superintendent Chiaverini has done a great job over the years. And it reminds me of that newspaper article that I think sits in the highway garage where there's a
Lovell Street.
picture of the top of Lovell Street and Putnam County. And, it's black
Now, I
black
know that
roads,
guy.
blacktop, and it's snow covered in Putnam.
Yeah.
But I get this comment from other people. They have a problem coming into town and leaving town, but once they're in here, the roads are always well maintained. So I want to thank, Tommy for that, and you, Nick. You've been at it for a year now.
Absolutely. But I have one question. It's not, and you didn't do it. We were told 139 was going to get paid by the state this year. We were told that a couple of times. What are they
By the
doing?
state.
That's a terrible road.
I have no comment.
What are they doing?
I don't control the state's highway
but
budget.
have they said to you, oh, by the way, we made a mistake?
No, the last I heard was that they were trying to put it in before the plants close, which is in about 2 weeks. So if
Yeah.
we don't see it in about 2 weeks, it's
So it could,
Oh,
it could still happen.
Well, we can
Sure.
hope. But that's a terrible road, and that's not ours. So don't blame Nick. Don't blame Nick.
Okay, well, back to the preliminary budget. Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick.
Is there anyone else here for Bob? You have
Well,
more?
so the proposal before the board for the board's approval
Oh.
is just that, adding $210,000 to the highway machinery line and increasing the fund balance in general fund and highway by $105,000 each. So that would have to be
Okay,
agreed
want
to tonight.
someone make a motion on that? I'll make a motion.
No,
No, just that.
What? Just
Just
add
add
it?
you're going to adopt the budget next week.
Yeah,
Okay,
In its
so
entirety.
we're just
What
changing
does
the
that do to
budget.
the percent increase, though?
There's no,
Does it?
there's no.
All right, so-
Yeah, it's out of fund
fund
balance.
All right, it's out of fund balance. So we're at 1.44.
1.4.
We stay at 1.4.
Right.
okay, so you can make that change and we'll adopt it hopefully next week. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, and I want to thank you, Bob, for all the hard work on the budget this year. I'll tell you, seeing this budget book at this size rather than the ones we used to carry
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
much
I'd
appreciated
like
for
to take
you and your
credit for
staff.
it, but I'll leave that to my colleague Carolyn, and a lot of hard work comes into that one book from all the department heads and everybody involved. So it's, I'm just a compiler, but thank you.
Tell Carolyn,
The
good
finance
job.
department
It's
great
is
awesome.
compiler.
well done because of
Rick,
you.
I know we heard from Nick, but is there anybody in the audience for the public comment? on
I'm
the
just
budget?
about to open it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought we already did.
We're not going to close it yet. Anyone here for comment on the 2020 preliminary budget?
I didn't think so, but
I
I
don't
asked.
see anyone. Any other comments, gentlemen, or
No? I think so.
concerns? All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Excuse me, I'm going to continue,
Close.
make a motion to continue.
Adjourn.
Adjourn the public hearing. Adjourn the public hearing.
Don't leave
To
us,
our next
Betty.
regular scheduled meeting of next week.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, I'm gonna just move the agenda around a little bit, and since we have a presentation proclamation, so I'd like to ask Arnie Guyot to come forward.
Arnie.
So Arnie has been with us many, many years, master mechanic at the highway garage. Those vehicles that Nick was talking about breaking down, this man has been responsible for working on them in a flash and getting them back out on the road, keeping the town safe and the road safe. And it is with great pleasure that I would like to read this proclamation and then come down and shake your hand, present this to you, and hopefully we take a picture. So this is from the Office of the Supervisor. Whereas the town of Somers is fortunate to employ wonderful and hardworking individuals, and where Arnie, a lifetime Somers resident, began his 27-year career with the town of Somers Highway Department in April 1992 as a motor equipment operator, and in September 20 2002, was promoted to heavy motor equipment operator, and then January 2013 became senior auto mechanic. Whereas Arnie has significantly contributed to the preventable maintenance and repair of town vehicles and equipment, which has enabled the Highway Department to manage the town roads, allowing its residents to drive safely. And whereas Arnie has been an active member of the Zoning Board of Appeals since 2010, served as the Conservation Board from 2006 to 2008, and is an active member of the Somers Historical Society. I'm trying to think what else you haven't done here. Whereas, beginning in 2017, Arnie guided the Somers High School student, Max Caron, in completing his Eagle Scout project by restoring the town's 1917 Ford Model T,
Yep. Roadster, no less.
along,
No less.
allowing the car to appear in the town's, I would say, to make a reappearance in the town's annual parades and events. And whereas Arnie, who is well respected by his colleagues, will be greatly missed by all, and we wished a wonderful, happy, and healthy retirement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Rick Morrissey, Supervisor of the Town of Somers, and the entire Town Board, do hereby congratulate Arnie and thank him for his 27 years of service, and hereby officially declare Friday, December 6th, as Arnold Guyat Day in the Town of Somers, given under my hand and seal this 5th day of December. Rick Morris.
Thank you.
Marty, have your wife come up too. Come up first, you too. Elsie, come on up.
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy.
He didn't ask, but. I got you, Tom, I got you.
Oh, stop, stop.
Okay, ready? 1, 2. One more.
Like what? Took me a minute to understand that. I know. Meeting to go.
Okay.
Patty, did she get up in the picture? She should get some. She should get up as well.
True, true. All right, our next item of business this evening will be to
Something to look forward to.
open public comment.
There we go.
Do I have a motion to open public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
No.
Is there anyone here for public comment?
I'm sure there is.
Yes, come on up. Once again, we will be observing the 3-minute time limit. So, Town Clerk, if you please keep the timer.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm disappointed that the sewer info session Tuesday night did not have a revised plan available to residents. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Linda Luciano, 10 Walker Drive. I'm sorry.
One person we don't have to ask.
Instead, there were cartoon-like posters trying to sell the sewer. People are posting that there was a lot of whispering going on. Of course, it's from the haters on social media, who, by the way, were the ones in the corner huddled talking about us. I was the one standing by the posters and the engineers, and people were coming up to me for over an hour asking me questions. I was not seeking out these people, and I was not whispering. The town continues to give misinformation. Where was a poster saying, when the district is formed, everyone starts paying the county surcharge and may never get sewer if Phase 2 doesn't go through? What about saying this is a new sewer tax that will be on your tax bill? Or the fact that 25% of residents will need grinder pumps? Or telling everyone that you will be putting easements onto their properties? What about the fact that septics are minimally impacting the lakes and this project is not about saving the lakes? This water quality issue is a town-wide issue. People say we are giving out disinformation. If our facts have been wrong, why is the report being revised? You already held info sessions on this incorrect plan over the summer. You should be starting this new process with a revised plan. Until that is done, you should not be holding any sessions. It was a waste of everyone's time, in my opinion. I heard from neighbors that a resident has been very vocal on social media talking about me. She says that I'm against sewers because I own more than one home. Well, so do 16 other residents that I know of. I bet she didn't know that. And that we should disclose this when we get up to speak at public comment. What does she want next? Our tax returns? If she wants to talk to me, where was she Tuesday night? This resident is getting the sewer infrastructure for free, paying just over $500 a year. I'll gladly swap my sewer tax for hers. We want the process to be done right, and it still isn't being done that way. We care about our neighbors and our community. After all, my family has been here for 45 years. I'm flattered that people have so much time to talk about us, because if we weren't smart and vocal, they wouldn't be. I haven't seen them up here asking why all these errors were not found for the past 2 years. We're the ones coming here talking about the mistakes. My husband is the one who asked the town board for a resident vote on September 6th. They didn't. We paid for a postcard mailer. They didn't. We did the petitions. They didn't. We found the errors in the report. They didn't. Yet they seem to be trying to take credit for our hard work. Imagine if everyone voted on a flawed plan next week. We believe the right thing should be done the right way, like notifying residents, which has still not been done. Everybody has a financial interest in this. Many residents don't come to these meetings and do not want to speak up publicly because of the haters who have nothing better to do than bully people on social media. We are the voice for those people. We personally do not post updates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Nextdoor. If people share the updates on social media that is sent out from them, from somerssewers.com, they are welcome to do that. These social media haters have actually pissed off a lot of people, and I just found out that it has boosted the traffic flow to Somers Sewers website, and people are joining the distribution list and sending emails thanking us for doing what we are doing. And I want to say thank you to all the residents all over Somers who have reached out to help us. And I've actually brought the emails to show the group of people who are thanking us that they feel that we're doing a good job.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for public comment? Yes, ma'am. Take your time.
My name is Jean Luciano, and I live at 3 Walker Drive. And I would like to know how all the residents who leave for the winter and don't come back till April are going to get an absentee ballot so they can vote. You mentioned that it can be done at a meeting in November with a mandatory referendum.
Is that your comment?
That's my question.
All right. Well, this is a public comment. You make your comment, and then we can address issues
You have
after.
3 minutes. Yeah.
That's it? You're not
Oh,
gonna?
do you have anything else? No?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll
So
ask
Roland,
them.
make a note of that. We'll answer it at the end of public comment. Thank you.
We will.
Anyone else here for public comment? Yes.
Lisa Healy, 7 Magnolia Drive, Lake Lincolndale. Will there be the sewers on the agenda for next week's town board meeting? I think there should be. as there are still a lot of outstanding questions that need to be answered, one being about the absentee ballots. Also, when will the full report be ready? How will you be sending out that report to all the residents who have a stake in the matter? Another question to be answered is, was the informational meeting held on Tuesday, 12/3? Does that count as one of your meetings you're required to hold before the vote? Once the new report is finished, will you be adding questions to the FAQ? And will they include questions I supplied a couple of months ago? You still continue to support those who support the sewers, but you have not worked with those who are the opponents to the sewers. And it's very one-sided, especially the way that the informational meeting was posted by the LLPOA. They made it seem like it was their meeting. They were hosting it. They put it into effect. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Come on down.
Joe Luciano, 10 Walker Drive. Number one, I'm requesting that the proposed sewer district be put on next week's agenda for questions and answers. When is the plan coming out? Do you have a date? Are you going to send out direct mailing to the homeowners? And what is the status on the absentee votes? And one of the big questions, the engineers have been still using the same resident cost numbers, and that's finding that very strange since there was a change in that the phase one was going to start to pay financing. So the numbers should have changed when that changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else here for public comment? Okay, seeing no one else, I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
So moved. And now let's address some of those questions. So, Roland, I've expressed at least my desire as the supervisor to be able to hear from absentee balloters, people who do not live in the area but own property. I believe everybody should have a vote.
Or the people go to Florida, as the lady said.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the solution to that has to be that you try and time the vote at a time when people would be returning from Florida. Because whether it's a mandatory referendum or a permissive referendum, according to the state controller, makes no difference. Absentee balloting is not permitted in this type of a referendum.
So we have no choice.
So that's,
We do not have
Well,
that
we can
option.
set the date at a time.
You can try and set the date later in the year.
Right.
all right,
If you
so
feel that that's an important feature.
let's say we got absentee ballots, or absentee ballots came, or ballots came in from people that are not residing at their property, that they live, or they're in Florida. Do we discount those?
Well, you would not have allowed for them. It's not permitted under the way the law is structured. It's not permitted to have absentee ballots in an election where only the owners of property can vote. It's not an election where all the qualified electors of the town are permitted to vote. And only in those types of elections can you have absentee ballots.
Yeah, that's discouraging.
So clarify that one with, so it's one vote per parcel?
No, if a parcel is owned by husband and wife, then they both get to vote.
Okay.
But you have to be on the deed.
So it's the number, who's on the deed?
Who's on the deed?
Who's on the deed, as opposed to just being a qualified elector, where renters could otherwise vote, or children, over 18 could otherwise vote.
If,
That's not the case here.
If it's an, I'm not sure this is the case, but what if it's an LLC or something? That's the issue.
If it's an LLC or a corporation, it's one vote.
It's one vote.
Okay, so to address some of the other questions, I'll address the easy ones first. No, the public forums do not count as part of our public hearing process once we roll out a new map plan and report. So we'll go through our designated public hearings for that. Indeed, there will be a mailing to every resident once we have a finalized map plan and report. There's some questions about, will it be on next week's agenda? If we have new information, if I have meetings, I'm trying to get a meeting set up next week with the county planning department and budget department to discuss the revised map plan and report. So if we make great headway, what we're trying to do is get some clarification from the county. They've been moving the goalposts on us, which translates to numbers changing minimally, and then we're coming up with our different scenarios of a flat versus, square footage. And then the when is the map plan and report going to be ready? I wish it was ready yesterday. As you know, we began this process officially in August with some public hearings. The idea was we were trying to get a sewer district established under the current legislature in the county, because we were assured that we would get a good turnout as far as voting to let our lake communities into the sewer district. So as we conducted our hearings, it was pointed out we missed some addresses, which meant we had to, amend the map plan and report once again. So then as it came into September, October, it became quite evident that we were not going to be able to get our sewer district formed before this legislative session ends. They're working on their budget right now, and even if we had our proposal in front of them, it would have been, probably wouldn't have gotten a thorough review. So in my mind, the time constraints have been lifted. So if it takes us until January, until February, to scrutinize these numbers, to get the lowest possible buy-in numbers from the county, to get the best formula that works for the majority of people, I'm sure there's going to be some that are not going to like it, some that will like it, and there's going to be some in between. But the effort of this town board is to make this the best possible map, plan, and report for these two communities. And once again, and this is a big if we have new information to discuss with the public, well, I should say with the lake communities, because this is a small part of the town, but clearly we're giving it all of our attention. We will put it back on the agenda. We'll have our town engineers here, and that map plan and report will be sent out with fact sheets to every property owner. Okay. Any other comments?
So
concerns?
you suggest, well, the request was, we're going to have will we have this on the agenda next time? And you're saying essentially if we don't have a map plan and report next time.
If there's no
then
new information.
There's no new information, so you wouldn't put it on the agenda.
Correct.
But you could be here for open comment.
Public comment,
Public
always.
comment,
Always.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be the parliamentarian. Let the record reflect that the Councilman Clinchie broke protocol and allowed this to
I'm okay with it
occur.
also, but
No,
quick.
no, real quick, Roland, I have a question, okay? Because at November 7th, you had told me after I asked about the absentee ballots and getting the personal registration, you said a mandatory referendum can be allowed with 209E. You did state that,
It
that we
is
could do
gonna-
absentee ballots,
No,
doing
no,
a...
I said I would look to see
If.
if the fact that we were going to have a mandatory referendum
Whether that changed.
changed the law on absentee balloting.
Okay.
And I did check, and
Okay.
it doesn't.
Linda, just so you know, there's a referendum, somebody whispered in my ear, there's a similar thing for a fire district going on down in Mamaroneck.
Yes,
And
somebody-
they're not allowed to use
Yes, I know.
absentees either,
Yeah,
so.
I know. But I do know, so I don't know why other towns have allowed absentee ballots, because I've heard from a couple. So I don't know if there's
You
a
know what?
loophole.
I think they didn't ask.
Maybe it was
like to
never
follow
brought
the
up.
law.
You're right, and maybe it was not during the winter. I don't know, but, I mean,
But I
listen,
remember
if
the
we-
same comment at that meeting. There was
Yeah.
hope that if we went
Yes.
with a,
You know,
Mandatory
nobody up
referendum.
here is fighting it. If we could
No,
do
no,
it,
no, it's
if
great.
we do it.
Oh,
But we
no.
can't- So
Yeah.
far, we haven't found a way to do it.
Okay, so waiting
We
till
tried to follow.
people come home from the winter, make it in April would be, that's what people are asking me. I mean, I have a lot of elderly people
Sure, like I
who are
said,
asking.
at the-
That
I got
would,
a presidential primary in April, you got June.
Okay,
Oh.
all right,
Early June, so we won't have to have a
Okay.
pool.
all
that
right.
does change.
Thank you very much.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, the next agenda item is a memo from the Bureau of Fire Prevention regarding South Lane. As follows.
Sides.
Please find attached a map of South Lane. As you can see, the findings, one way around is not, finding one ways around is not easy because of the fork in the road. Fire and emergency personnel have been affected by this on more than one occasion. The Bureau of Fire Prevention formally requests that consideration be given to adding a directional sign at the split on South Lane that reads as follows. And then it has 9, 11, and 13 South Lane with a left directional arrow, and 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 with a right directional arrow. I mean, it sounds,
You know, they have that up in, off of 100, Twin Knolls. They have that when you come up to the peak. There's one that says the number's this way and the number's that way, so it's a great idea.
and in Heritage they have.
Well, they have them everywhere in Heritage.
Yeah, but you can't find anything in Heritage, even with it.
So, yeah, I see this as having merit. I think that
Yeah, why not?
we should refer it out to our normal referrals, highway, police,
Police and
fire,
fire.
planning.
Sure.
I'm wondering, did the police or fire have, or highway have any issues with it? I don't think we need to refer it out. I think we could just do it.
Well, it's our protocol. Let's,
Process.
well, let's do
A few
this.
signs,
Okay.
uh,
No,
Somebody
no,
with a
do
hand
that.
up.
There might be something we missed, but I can't imagine.
Is that the South Lane that's off Mayapack Avenue?
Off Mosman.
Off of Bozeman?
South
Is it the same
Town.
one?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my son lives on that street.
Okay, we're gonna get him directional arrows. So, you know what we can do?
Yeah, well, I just asked them, they said they're good with it.
We can talk to let's order the signs and refer it out. It's just protocol.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's not even a two-way street.
No.
It's just one road and you gotta go on somebody's lawn if someone else is coming.
Right, thank you.
Safety first.
All right, our next agenda item is authorize the supervisor to execute the order of agreement for the purchase of a new Konica Minolta 458E copy printer in the amount of $4,957 to be paid on a 6-month purchase plan.
60.
60.
60. Did I say
Little bit of a
6?
difference.
Yeah, well, $82.62 a month per email from Tammy Sava, Senior Office Assistant. I'm going to make a motion that we move this item.
Is that replacing a copier that we have?
Yeah,
And the one upstairs, right in the middle of the
Yeah.
floor?
Yeah, that one.
yes.
Okay.
So as soon as we make
Oh, it's not.
a vote on that, we can move the other
We
one
better
out.
put something back there.
Yeah, no, it served us well, but it's not functioning well. So,
Okay.
We're moving on it now?
yes, I
Okay.
make a motion to authorize the purchase.
Second.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thing is unprinted.
Town Board Agenda Item 4, accept the proposal and authorize the supervisor to execute the contract with commercial instruments and alarm systems in the amount of $3,000 for a panel upgrade and addition of smoke detection at the Wright Reese Homestead per November 22nd memo from the Historic Properties Board. We'll put that on the consensus agenda. We certainly want all the fire protection for all of our properties, including the Wright Homestead.
Oh, yeah. You know, if I could just ask Patty a question, that copier upstairs, did we lease that or did we own that?
No, we own it.
And what happens when we don't use it anymore? Where did it go? Did we get anything for it?
I believe we leased it.
Hmm?
I believe we leased them. They took it and
No, that one we owned.
We owned
Yeah, I
it?
went through this with Tammy. Yeah, and we got a credit
We
or
got
something
nothing.
with the turn-in.
Oh, we returned to the company?
Right. After it's leased, we buy it for a nominal amount.
Okay, so it's both. Okay, you better.
So they took it
They took it.
and they recycle it in some way?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is off, what I understand, it's state contract.
Yeah, right. So we can just put it out on the street for someone to come by and pick it up? Okay.
Okay, so that was item number 3. Now we're on 4. And I'm going to move that to the consensus agenda if there's no discussion on that. Okay, number 1 under highway is authorized bad weather overtime adjustment for Nick DeVito, Deputy Highway Superintendent, in the amount of $4,000 for the 2019 per memo dated November 19th from Thomas E. Chiaverini, Superintendent of Highways. So this is an adjustment for 2019 overtime and that he did, and say the winter, because he worked the winter of 2018.
So this is for last winter?
Yeah, and this one.
And did we make a change in the budget on, didn't we change the deputy superintendent's compensation and responsibilities to take this out? Didn't we do that? I remember the budget discussion?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All right, so yeah, this will
Got it.
be,
I thought it was something.
So you want a motion on that?
yes.
I make a motion, we authorize bad weather overtime adjustment for Nicholas DeVito in the amount of $4,000 for 2019 per memo dated November 19th, 2019 from Thomas E. Chiaverini, Superintendent of Highways.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, current vacancies, affordable housing, partners in prevention. People come on out and get involved. These are active boards, and they meet routinely.
And it's fun.
Could use your help.
That's fun.
All right, we have upcoming terms that are expiring on library, partners in prevention, and planning board. Those folks will be getting letters regarding thanking them for their service and requesting for them to let us know if they're interested in continuing service. Okay, so proposed consensus, any questions there? Erosion control bids and highway materials.
No, it's standard.
Yeah, that's all pretty standard. Okay, our next town board meeting will be December 12th, where we'll have our public hearing for the proposed 2020 budget, and also a public hearing for the proposed 2020 quarterly water charges for the Amawalk Shenorock Water District and Amawalk Heights Water District. So this is a very active time of year. I've called upon 2 individuals at this dais that have really shown in how they deliver these announcements. So I would like to start off with our town clerk.
Yeah.
There you go.
And not to be outdone or diminished by Councilman Clinchard.
Oh my gosh, we have that many?
Wow, we
did
got
a-
like tag team.
Who did a
It's gonna be like
fabulous...
evening news with Patty and Rich. Here
All
we go.
right, take it away,
Good night, Chet.
Ms.
Good night,
Calba.
David.
Okay, so the town board announcements for December 5th, 2019. Well, let me start by saying all these will be listed on our town website if you missed something I said. St. Luke's Food Drive will be held, is being held in the whole month of December at St. Luke's Church. Holiday in the Hills at Lasden, Saturday and Sunday, in December, starting December 7th to the 29th.
Great show.
Somers PTA Holiday Happiness is this Saturday, December 7th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That'll be at Primrose. Town of Somers Holiday Celebration is going to be held this Sunday on December 8th at the Elephant Hotel. It starts at 2:30. With the museum will be open at 3 o'clock. The annual Christmas tree tradition photos with the tree's ruler. Sorry.
And photos with Santa.
And photos with Santa. Knights of Columbus will be dedicating their nativity scene. Somers Chamber of Commerce holiday music. And at 4 o'clock, the Girl Scouts will have hot chocolate. And 4:30 to 5 will be a sing-along. And 5 o'clock will be the tree lighting.
Amen.
Don't want to miss it.
Thank you, Patty. And now the news.
Oh,
The Westchester
Over you, Richard.
Oratorio Society will be performing Handel's Messiah sing-along, Hallelujah, this Sunday at 3 p.m. in St. Luke's Church. They actually are a very well-known group, and the tickets are $25. They can be purchased at the door or online at www.westchesteroratorio.org. Light refreshments will follow the concert, and as Patty said, all these are on the town's website too. The Somers Historical Society will have holidays at the Wright Reese Homestead and the 5th Annual Gingerbread Festival of 2019, and this will occur on Saturday, not this Saturday, a week from Saturday, on December 14th. The snow date, please don't mention snow, the 12th that's on the Sunday the 15th. From 12 to 4 is the Gingerbread Festival, and the gingerbread house entries are due Saturday between 9 and 10 a.m. So if you're in the contest, get them in Saturday morning. The festival and judging will be in the afternoon. The themes are Go Tuskers or Anything Goes. So the entry fee is a non-perishable item for the Somers Food Pantry. And the Wright Reese Homestead is right near Reese Park on Primrose Street, otherwise known as 139, soon not to be repaid, apparently. The Spectacular Christmas Bazaar is Saturday, 12/14, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Church of the Good Shepherd on 39 Granite Springs Road in Granite Springs. Handmade ornaments, gift items, fresh baked goods, gift baskets, boutique items, candy, and gifts are all there, so you can pick up some holiday gifts. The Somers Library on Sunday, 12/15, going to be some very busy weekends. We'll have a holiday concert from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That's Sunday, 12/15. Come warm the holiday season with music, and it's always a good event. The Town of Somers annual menorah lighting for Hanukkah will be on Sunday, December 22nd at 6 p.m. right here at the Elephant Hotel front lawn. And finally, if you are looking to help on the census or need a seasonal job, join the 2020 census team at the 2020 census recruiting event, which is on Thursday, 12/12, a week from tonight, from 2:30 to 8 o'clock in the Somers Library at Route 139, Reese Park on the unpaved road. Pay rates will start at $17 and go to $21 per hour, and there is a call number that you can have. That'll be on our website, and you can also apply online at 2020census.gov/jobs. And that's tonight's report. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you. Thank you both.
Well done.
Well done, both.
And I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season. Enjoy your family and your friends. Any closing comments, issues, gentlemen?
See you
See you next week.
Okay, good night, Somers.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'd like
Yes.
to make a